Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at the final part of this season of Kill Team Gallowfall. So first of all I want to say massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us a free early review copy to have a look at on the site. Yeah, it's been an exciting year of Kill Team with 4 different boxes set within the Gallowdark Space Hulk. And this is the final of those 4 boxes, Gallo-fall, bringing that storyline to an end and containing some Leagues of Votann and some Beastmen. So in this video what we'll be doing is having a look at all the contents, seeing how the kits go together. Towards the end of the video we'll have a look at the painted models and see what they look like in the flesh, and we'll be checking out all the rules for them, how the kill teams go together, and all the cool stuff that's in the book. And again, if there's anything interesting from a narrative point of view, see if there's maybe anything at all that maybe hints towards some of the 10th edition storyline, which is, so I guess, probably not following too far after this box comes out. Also over on spruesandbrews.com I've got a full write-up of this box with all the details of what the kill teams do and some more photographs of everything. So before we crack it open, let's just flip it open and have a look what is in the box. So if you've already picked up some of the other Kill Team boxes this year, you'll know the drill by now. You get the full Kill Team playing surface, a set of the Gallowdark frames for the walls and everything, and then you'll get some unique frames for some scenery that is unique to this box and then will be available separately down the line. You get the 2 Kill Teams, so the Hearthkin Salvagers, which is the League of Votann one. I believe that's the standard kind of Hearthkin frame with an upgrade sprue, allowing you to build the cool kind of unique stuff in this kill team. And then the other force in the box are the Fellgore Ravagers, who are the first Beastmen that we've seen in 40k for a while. We got a couple of them in Blackstone Fortress, but yeah, they've not been seen around recently, and I suspect that Horus Heresy players will be keeping an eye on these as well, because I reckon you could do a really nice Lost in the Damned force using these guys, and I wonder if that is the plan. In addition, you also get the Gallo-fall kind of supplement book and transfers and all the kind of usual stuff. So should we crack this open and have a look at what is inside? And again, it is a big hefty box. You know, we've got a lot of scenery frames in here, same kind of setup as we've had in the previous one. So should we have a look at the sprues that come in here first? Obviously some of the scenery ones we've already seen, but what people will want to see are the new kits. So we'll slide that over to one side. We get the Hearthkin. So this is the standard sprue that we saw with the Leagues of Votann release. This is just the standard Hearthkin Warrior sprue. What makes this kind of unique for Kill Team is the upgrade frame. So that is something that we've seen in a lot of the other Kill Teams this season, where they take a existing kit and add a supplemental frame that adds all the new kind of operatives and stuff like that. They've really done well. Normally, I haven't seen the kind of makeup of these Kill Teams yet. We'll have a look at that together on this video, but usually with one box you'll probably have to pick and choose which operatives you go for. So if you've already got some Hearthkin for your Leagues of Votann, if you build the operatives, kind of the specialist ones that are made using this frame, then between your existing ones and your new ones you should be able to pull like any combination of kill team that you want. So they're very, very cool. The other kill team in the box are the new Beastmen. Now this is an interesting one, because I assumed this was going to be a standard quote marks bespoke kill team set. However, it looks like this is a Beastmen sprue, and there's an upgrade sprue on top of this, suggesting that the original I guess use of this sprue isn't actually Kill Team. So in 10th edition, could we see maybe a Lost in the Damned army list? I mean, these are really, really cool models. And I know a lot of people have been dying out to do a force of, rather than a Chaos Space Marine force, a force of traitors, mutants, traitor guard and beastmen with some looted tanks and the like. Maybe Vash Tor being part of that. I think it'd be really, really interesting. what I do know, there's an awful lot of head options on this kit as well, so yeah, anyone who wants to do a Horus Heresy force, which is quite Beastmen heavy, and again, we haven't seen the rules for those yet for the 2nd edition. Again, is that waiting for this kit to come out in order to drop? So that is that, and then we get the upgrade sprue, which again has a lot of cool parts on it. So you've got a little kind of staff for the shaman, you've got a shield there, loads of cool bits. I believe on this one, if you build every kind of like special operative, you can have an entire kill team. You wouldn't have any generic kind of Beastmen in there though. So if you have got any of the Beastmen from Blackstone Fortress lying around, you can always take them to fill out your numbers. So yes, that's very, very cool. So the majority of the stuff in the rest of the box are the kill team frames that we've seen before for the scenery. So we originally thought that we might see different styles of walls. Maybe that was me being a bit optimistic back in the past. So you get a full set of those. Again, if you've got another kill team set, you can combine that with them in order to get enough scenery to do games of boarding actions, which is fun. What you do get, however, are 2 of the new Gallo-fall frames. So these are really nice. So you've got all kind of like escape pods and cryo chambers. I guess in this kind of builds up to a, you know, that traditional cinematic, right, the ship's crashing, everyone needs to get in escape pods and get out. So yeah, you get 2 of them, identical frames. Again, these will probably be boxed separately, something that we've seen with the other kits over this season. So that's all the plastic out of the box. What we'll do now is have a look at the paper materials in here. So if we take these out, we've got the Kill Team Gallowfall book. So we'll have a look at that properly in a little bit. We get the full Kill Team board. We've all seen these before. Again, you can put 2 of these together to make a boarding actions board though, which is really cool. I believe you get some transfers, yes. You get a sheet of Leagues of Votann transfers. So again, we've seen these during the Votann release. And then we'll just have a quick look at the instructions before we dive into the Gallo-fall book. Just see if there's anything that we need to kind of, I guess, keep an eye on here for how they go together. Sometimes, like we'll see up here, you get a few different options for your operatives. So one thing I always do say in these reviews is, equally there's no wrong way to build a kill team, but you might be disappointed if you can't build a certain model that you wanted to. So just kind of go through the book first, work out which options you do want to build, and then kind of find the best way of optimizing that. Now what I have found is sometimes the parts will fit quite nicely on other models anyway, so it's not too much of a biggie, even if you have to do some, you know, cutting and trimming perhaps. But yeah, obviously a lot of the unique ones on here will replace. So for example, this model here, you can build it as a standard warrior, that's not a massive loss, but then you're going to have a choice between the medic and the grenadier. Now again, you may already have a medic if you've built any kind of Leagues of Votann in the past, so it is going to be a case of working out which ones you want to do. On the most part, I imagine most people will be building one of each kind of like, quote marks, new specialist that's made up during the sprue. Now what is new are the Beastmen. So there's quite a lot of heads here and combinations of like horns and stuff. So when these are available separately, I do imagine that you'll be able to make quite a few different looking Beastmen. And again, we've got some weapon options here, so you want to kind of check your loadouts in the book. What is cool about these ones though, is that in each case you've got a choice between a standard Beastman and one of the specialists that's listed in the book. So you can build every, if you forsake having any warriors, you can build one of each operative. If you've got some of the Blackstone Fortress Beastmen, awesome. You've now got one of each operative and a couple of generic kind of warriors. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing for mine. But yeah, these look really, really cool. And I really hope that this is a sign of these guys getting rules in 40k, because that would be just amazing. I mean, already you could see this guy maybe being a caster and this guy being a character maybe. Yeah. And then the rest of the instructions, we go through the scenery. Again, this is all the same scenery that we've had in previous boxes, and then you get the new parts with the escape pods and the status chambers and all the kind of like medical bay and stuff. So this is really, really nice scenery. Nice bit of scatter for Necromunda and stuff as well, this stuff. I can see a really cool kind of like dock surgery being built up for games of Necromunda. So yeah, really cool. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the Gallo-fall expansion and see what is new from a lore point of view, and see how both of these warbands fight in the game. So let's take a look at the Gallo-fall supplement. So if you've played any of the other books from the season so far, you'll know the drill here. Essentially this gives us lore on the kill zone that we're fighting over, in particular about the fall of the Gallowdark. Essentially it's been hit by a penal ship, and that's caused a chain reaction with all sorts of explosions and damage all over the ship. The thing's fallen apart. Obviously this is a space hulk cobbled together from various ships and all those different elements. We'll have engines and fuel stores and stuff. That's all starting to explore. So with that, the Gallowdark is crashing down onto a planet. Everyone on board is going to die horrifically unless they can get off. And that's kind of the story arc of the missions in here. We also learn about the Leagues of Votann. They are on a mission here to recover some Ironkin who are on the ship. They've got a signal and they want to recover them, because the Leagues of Votann see those as equal, even though they're AI. Obviously the other force in the box are the Beastmen, the Fellgores, and they are horrific bands of Beastmen who are trying to hunt down the kin that are on board the ship. And basically that sets up the theme of this book. Like with the other Kill Team books, we get some background tables. So with these you can roll up some names and background and base of operations and all that kind of stuff. We get them both for the Leagues of Votann and for the Beastmen as well. And it's nice to see lore for Beastmen in here. It's been a while since we've had any Beastmen in the main game. There was one in Necromunda, and obviously recently we got the rules for Horus Heresy that lets you take some within your militia armies, which coincidentally this book, the kit in this box will make a great source of Beastmen bodies if you want to do a full kind of mutant Beastman kind of army for your games of Horus Heresy. And again, we get the background in names and stuff for the Beastmen kill team itself. But I guess what most people want to see in this section are the rules and how those two kill teams play. And they're really fun. Two very different styles of kill team. The Hearthkin Salvagers have got all sorts of gadgets and gizmos and guns, where the Fellgore Ravagers are quite the opposite, smashing things in with their melee attacks. So you see the breakup of the kill team here? I think using the contents of the box, you could build one of every unique operative and not build a warrior. Now obviously you've got a range of different weapon options. If you've got an existing Hearthkin kit, if you've already got a Leagues of Votann army, you might be able to put together obviously the warrior and a few of the different gunners, and then be able to build all of the kind of unique kill team only operatives. That's the way I'd probably do it. It gives you lots of options, and obviously in a campaign you can take more guys and select from that your kill team, so it gives you lots of options. They get some cool abilities that kind of have some flavour of their 40k rules. So grudges work in much the same way. So when an enemy operative kills one of your operatives, you put a grudge token on it, and when you're attacking something with a grudge token, you can swap out a successful hit to a critical hit. So that's a really good way of getting your critical hit abilities off. Obviously you can get some multiple tokens on those targets too, letting you basically kind of maximise the critical hits you can get, which is pretty cool. Their other rule is steady advance. Basically means that you ignore all movement characteristic penalties for friendly operatives. That also applies to any modifiers that are positive as well. It's basically they're slow, but they can't go any slower than that, so that's a bit of a, I guess, an advantage for you. The attack ops all revolve around Hearthkinny stuff. So there's one that interacts around killing things with grudge tokens on, there's excavating rare materials, and then setting up rig sites as well. So it's all very flavourful for the kill team. Onto the actual operatives themselves, they get lots of options. So the Thane is the kind of like leader. Obviously it uses the Hearthkin kit, so there's lots and lots of options on there. His main mechanic really is that he can select a operative with insight to give it a grudge token, again to maximise on setting up those units for you to use the grudge tokens against them. And again, with that in mind, you might want to take some of the weapons that have got high spike critical damage, because you can use those grudge tokens to take advantage of that. The Dozer is one of my favourite ones. He's a bit of a close combat brawler. His main kind of cool ability is that he can knock something back square and then do a load of mortal wounds to it. So basically he punches them across the ship, which is pretty fun. We have got the Field Medic. It does usual medic-y things. It can stop someone from being incapacitated, and he can heal. Grenadier's a cool one. He basically throws like gravity grenades that have got, you kind of pick one of 3 different abilities that triggers off them. So you can basically make things basically cost more movement in order to do stuff. You can make weapons into a ranged pentagon, or you can make them spend additional actions. So basically it's like status grenades, so that's pretty cool. Gunner, loads of weapon options on them. The real ones to shout out are the Magna Rail Rifle that does 3 mortal wounds on a crit and is AP 2, or the Rotary Cannon. That's got the scan ability that basically means that operatives don't count as obscured, so don't care if they're obscured, they just shoot away. So that's pretty fun. The Jump Pack Warrior, while being quite dangerous in a ship, they go pretty quick. So basically it can move 2 Pentagon instead of its movement, and if it charges it gets the Brutal Special Rule, which is pretty cool. The Kinlink is bit of a support one. The usual kind of like Vox kind of abilities, such as adding to APL of a target. It can also system jam an enemy unit as well, so basically they can't activate until all valid other activations have been done, so you can lock down a specific unit that you don't want to attack you first. The Coginator, he's pretty cool. He can put down one of 2 tokens, either attack or defense, and then units within range of that token get to re-roll either an attack or defense dice based on what token's done. Those tokens go down in the strategy phase, but you can do an action to swap one out or move it. So he can move an attack action to the other side of the board, or he could swap an attack token to a defense token. So he's got quite a lot of utility for moving those tokens around to basically support your guys as best as you can. So that's pretty cool. The Locator is a pretty nice one. He stops enemy units from deploying outside of their kill zone, and he actually stops any of the free movement from a recon scouting action as well, which is pretty good. The Lugger's a nice one. He basically lets you mid-game swap out the weapon options on one of your operatives. So say your Gunner, for example, you could decide to swap the weapon that they're armed with mid-game. They keep that other weapon until the end of the game, and then in like a campaign or something, it reverts back to their original weapon at the end. But that's a really nice of maybe swapping up weapons if a certain target's been killed, or you need to switch things up a little bit. So really good like utility one there. And then you get your standard kind of warrior. Again, I think a lot of people will probably max out on the unique operatives here, because there's quite a lot of being fun. Because there's quite a lot of fun to be had from them. So yeah, I really like them. Obviously, a lot of these guys, you're probably going to have some already if you've got a Leagues of Votann army. So yeah, lots of cool things you can do with them. Now my favourite of the 2 kill teams, however, are the Fellgore Ravagers. So this is the Beastman kill team, and they're really nice and aggressive and you know, gribbly, and I like all things chaos. So their main ability is Frenzy, and this is really cool. Basically, they get an extra life, after they're incapacitated. So instead of being removed when they're incapacitated, they get a frenzy token and they stay on the board. And in order to incapacitate them then, you either need to hit them with a critical hit them with 2 standard hits, or they just die when they finish their activation. So essentially what that means is that if you kill a Fellgore Ravager, unless you can dedicate some more fire to take it off the board, it's going to get another activation, then at the end of its activation it will be removed. Which is cool because it means that the Beastman player can be quite aggressive with that, because it's going to die anyway, so you may as well throw it into something and try and take something down before it goes. And a lot of these Beastmen have got some really, really scary kind of like melee abilities, so they can do quite a lot of damage before they're taken off at the end of the activation. So yeah, really, really like that. The leader is the Iron Horn. He can either be given a pistol and a chainsword, or a plasma pistol and a bludgeon. Personally, I'd go for the chainsword because they're just better at combat. He's hitting on a 2+, so you may as well take the advantage of the rending and the 5 damage spike on the chainsword personally, rather than the 50-50 chance of hitting with a pistol. He's also got a unique ability where in the strategy phase he can give a friendly Fellgore Ravager a free dash action, which is pretty nice. The Death Knell is a nice kind of support unit. Basically he counts his APL as being high for the purposes of objectives. His Gong means that Fellgore Ravagers within square of him can basically downgrade any critical hits they suffer down to a standard hit, so they're going to take less damage from them, which is pretty cool. And then finally he's got a Gong Knell ability where he can give himself a 3+ invulnerable save, which is going to make it harder to take him down while he's kind of basically saving his friends from taking critical hits. So he's a really good one to kind of lead his way in and kind of soak that damage. The Flux Spray is an interesting one. Basically he's got a special action where he can move across enemy fighters, and every fighter that he does takes D3+1 mortal wounds. So this guy kind of just like brawls his way through, doing some damage to them. So really like that guy. The Fellgore Gnarlscar is an interesting one. He's basically a power fist and pistol kind of slugger. His unique action, he gets to do a fight action and then immediately gets to do a shoot action at the thing that he's fighting, so he can basically weaken something with his melee attack and then finish it off with a gun, which is pretty cool. We then get the Fellgore Gorehorn. This guy is pretty scary in that he can fight 2 fight actions during his activation, and then whenever he incapacitates someone while he doesn't have a frenzy token, he either heals D3 wounds or he adds D3 to the critical damage of his weapon. Caps at 8, but this guy doing 4 attacks with potential damage 8 and being able to do 2 fight actions, that is a lot of damage he can do. And again, if the enemy does manage to take him down, if he's got that incapacitated if he's got the frenzy token, he's going to be able to do another activation before he goes down as well. So there's a good chance of him being able to kill something within that final kind of death throw that he's got. So yeah, I really, really like him. The Herd Goad is a bit of a support one. Basically, he can reduce the attacks of enemy operatives and make them spend additional action points to fall back. And he can also add to the action points of your friendly units too. So yeah, a bit of a support character there. The Fellgore Mangler is terrifying. So basically, if he does in melee, if he does a critical hit, he can immediately strike with another successful hit. So you can kind of chain them together, and then you combine that with his Savage Assault ability. If he's finished melee and he's still in engagement range, he gets to immediately fight again. So it's like with the Gorehorn, this is a guy that you get him in combat and he can potentially fight multiple times, and before the enemy swings at you with his kind of ability to get that other strike in before the enemy fights you back. So yeah, he's pretty scary, and again that damage spikes at 6 as well, so this guy could quite easily take things out. We then have the Shaman. He's your Psyker and can do one of 3 things. He can basically give a friendly unit the equivalent of Conceal. He can do a bit of a heal ability, or he can make enemy weapons hot as well. So, bit of utility from that guy. The Toxhorns I really like. He can throw grenades. Everything within circles hit. On a 3+, you subtract 1 from that APL, and on a 5+, in addition, they suffer 3 mortal wounds, so he's pretty cool. Again, especially in games on the Gallo-dark, where people are going to be quite close together, being able to throw that down and potentially do a bit of splash mortal wound damage is pretty handy. Speaking of close confines, this is where the Vandal comes in. He's got a unique ability, Sweeping Blow, where every operative, and that's friend or foe, within circle of him, suffers D3 plus 1 mortal wound. So he basically goes in, swings his big mace around, and yeah, does a load of damage to people nearby. So really, really like that guy. He seems super fun. And then finally, you've got your standard warrior. Again, you've got a choice of weapons there. Like with the Leagues of Votann though, I suspect most people are going to go for a mix of the other kind of unique operatives, because really they are better. But I've seen a campaign, you might have some warriors in there as well, just to have for, you know, wound buffers. So yeah, both really, really fun kill teams. I'm looking forward to using the Beastmen in the kind of narrative campaign weekend at Warhammer World soon. I think they're going to be really fun. Like with the other Kill Team books as well, we get the full Gallowdark rules in here with all the rules for the scenery, including the new bits in the box. So the escape pods are quite cool that during the game they can launch and they can remove from their little stand, so that's pretty fun. And then the missions themselves, we get, like with the other books, 2 campaigns really. So the first one is more kind of narrative. It's set around the storyline within the book. What's cool with this one, the final 3 missions actually use 2 sets of boards and Gallowdark scenery for the big kind of cinematic finale of the Gallowdark kind of series, because this is the last box of this one. And we get some cool stuff in here, like this one for example. The escape pods are kind of genetically linked to the crew members. So what the kill teams are trying to do in this one is get some remains of some of the crew and then take those remains to the escape pod in order to kind of like trigger it and get off the ship. The final mission is the big kind of cinematic showdown where the ship's on fire, there's bits destroying, and basically as the game goes on, areas of the ship are destroyed as you're trying to kind of race against time and get into those launch pods that are down the far end. So cue some cinematic battles where you're running down corridors, fighting off your opponents as you're trying to get into the escape pods and get off the ship. And basically the game ends once all the escape pods have launched and the person with the most people who've got off the ship wins. So really, really cool cinematic mission. Again, it used 2 sets of boards, so it's going to be quite a big one. But yeah, suitably visually fitting for the finale of the Gallowdark campaign. And then again we get some more match play ones, which are kind of symmetrical maps to add to a more balanced match play game. For me really, Kill Team's all about those narrative elements, but it's good that you get both of these here in order to you know, be able to play whichever way you want to. So that is a look at the Gallo-fall supplement. Before we go, we can have a look at some of the miniatures that I have painted up as part of this review. Sadly, didn't quite have time to get them all painted with Warhammer Fest on the recently, but I have started painting up the Kill Team. So I wanted to show you what these guys look like, and they are really, really fun models to paint up. I can see a lot of people using these for Warhammer 40,000 or games of Horus Heresy. They ironically, 40k's now had more Beastmen models than Age of Sigmar, but they are really cool. So there's the leader. We've got the Grenadier here guy here with his gas mask and his grenade that he's throwing. Again, really, really cool models. Quite a quick scheme done on these just to get them ready for the video. And yeah, I think they're really, really nice models. We have got the guy with the big 2-handed mace going around smashing people. I think he's going to be fun in the games. And then finally I've got the guy with the gong painted up too. So again, quite quick scheme. I used a lot of 2 thin coats paints on these, washed them down, and a few dry brushes just to get everything together. Andy has been working on the Leagues of Votann, so I'm going to stick in some images now of what he's been working with them. I know he really enjoyed doing them. It's just an upgraded frame on the standard Hearthkin Warrior sprue, but it does add a lot of new options for them, so I really enjoyed them. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed that. That was a look at Gallo-fall, the final expansion for the Gallowdark kind of season of Kill Team. Obviously we know there's some cool stuff coming for Kill Team in the near future, such as the Ashes of Faith supplement, which is soon, I believe. And then going into coming into the autumn, we've then got the next season coming. And on the reveals on Warhammer Fest, they mentioned that it's not going to be kind of Gallo-dark corridor fighting, but equally it's not going to be wide open spaces like we saw in the original season of Kill Team. So it's going to be something new, and I do wonder if there's going to be new environmental stuff. Obviously in the little teaser trailer there's a lot of kind of water, and it seems the Gallo-dark has crash landed into the ocean. So could we see different environmental effects, like, I don't know, the first box is at sea and there's like different gantries and stuff to walk on, and then the second box is in the jungles and there's dense jungle scenery, which is a good excuse to release new, jungle trees for 40k. I'm sure we'll know more as the season comes round, but I'm excited to see where Kill Team goes. If you have enjoyed this, why not give us a follow? We do lots of unboxings and battle reports and painting videos and stuff. If you'd like to support us, we have an affiliate link to Element Games that is in the description. We've also recently launched a Patreon too, so any help like that helps running the site, going towards all the costs and everything, so that is massively appreciated. But until next time, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.